welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and this all-new SUV behind us is the Ford Puma.
That's right, I've dressed in all jungle clothing to see if we can tame this 1 litre Ford Puma. Shouldn't be that difficult, to be honest. Come, let's take a look. Now, for you car enthusiasts or boffins out there, you'll know that the Puma isn't exactly a new nameplate for Ford. They actually, around the turn of the century, around 97 to 2001, had a sports car, and I say sports car in the loosest possible way, that had the Puma nameplate. But anyway, they revived it, and now it's in a crossover like this. Let's take a closer look. This, of course, is the ST line, so it's just basically got a few more extra touches and bits about it. But the good thing about it, look at this nice, beautiful desert island blue. I know it doesn't make sense, but car colours don't need to make sense. All you need to know is this is a really cool deep blue. Round the rest of the front, you've got the unmistakable Ford family grille, which is good. Ford badging. These are what's known as canoe shaped headlights. I mean, probably goes in with the island side of things, but you never know. There's LED headlights, and these are the coolest wing-like DRLs. They're very good at light. I'll see if I can show you. And also some little fog lights down here that are not LED, but doesn't make any difference. This is a nice looking front, and it's not a big vehicle. Size wise, it's 4.3 meters, so it's not massive, but compact SUV or crossover, very cool. Let's take a look down the side. Okay, 17-inch feet. They are quite, I mean, this comes with the Fiesta chassis, so that combined with some relatively sticky rubber and some 17-inch feet really rides very, very firmly and strong on the ground. Really good. Extended wheel arches, so these are just fatted out, just gives it that more, I don't know, masculine, more beastie upside. Also, nice floating A-pillar, which leads into a nice dropping off roofline. I really like this. It really comes down nice towards the tail end. ST badge, very important on this. It does actually take it or elevate it in all manner of areas. And also these wing mirrors, they've got nice little pool floodlights down here. Very cool at night. Again, let's see if I can show you that. A nice flat belt line gives it a nice stoic road presence. Very cool. Round the rear, roofline spoiler, always cool. Puma is actually written in text, which is quite cool. Very nice, and nice black 3D text. Very cool. LED tail lights, and also a kicker tailgate. Lovely. Inside, 410 litres of boot space here that's actually multi-leveled. Watch this. You lift this up, these areas pop out, and look at that. It's a really nice, easy, just, I don't know, daily bag size. But also under here has got a big deep well that's also holds water, apparently much more than our conversation, and under there is a space saver wheel. Very cool. Now let's take a look under the bonnet. A 1 litre 3-cylinder EcoBoost engine that provides 92 kilowatts, 170 newton meters of torque. I mean, that's a lot from a small engine. It goes from 0 to 100 in, we won't really talk about it. Efficiency wise, 5.3 litres per 100 kilometres and 121 grams of CO2 per kilometre, so it's not bad. Speaking of efficient and, I don't know, labour saving, Matthew's inside and he'll talk you all the way through things.
I wouldn't say I'm as efficient as this Ford Puma, as sometimes I tend to drone on in the interiors, especially with the hard plastics, but we'll get to that later. Once you're in the Ford Puma, you'll realize firstly that your pants are all clean, because Ford's doors actually cover up the door sill, so when you're wearing your suits and whatever black pants, you won't get any dust on them. That's pretty intelligent. So this cabin is full of smart storage spaces like that. So in the doors you get nice large door bins for your bottles and everything. Down the middle you get 3 cup holders actually. Well, more like 2.5. You get a special slot in the middle that will actually house your key right there. And the phone holder is in fact perfectly sized for even the biggest of phones, and it has wireless charging too. The glove box, well, that's huge. It has a manual in there and enough space to store an extra shirt if you need to. And in the middle you get a under armrest storage cubby there. All sorts of intelligent stuff. Another thing that's really sort of smart about this car is these special Sport ST seats, which have bolstering on both the bottom and the top, especially these. When you're cornering and enjoying this really fine-tuned chassis, these are important. They also come with a bit of contrast stitching, as you'll see, another special inclusion as part of the ST line package. The contrast stitching and the cloth also features on the doors, front, and on the seats at the back, sort of giving it that sporty touch again with the red contrast stitching. You'll also notice that another part of this ST line finish is that you get this fake carbon fiber trim that runs through the dashboard here and here. It looks, to the sort of, I guess, journalistic eye, it does look a little bit fake, but to the average person it looks nice, and it sort of breaks up the black plastic of the top of the dashboard there. Speaking of which, soft stuff on the top and a bit of scratchy stuff on the bottom, but that's to be expected. Remember, this is Ford's smallest and most affordable SUV, so you will have scratchy plastics and you will have a bit of sketchy build quality in some places. Continuing with that intelligent sort of modern theme is the infotainment screen. So in the middle you have Ford's familiar Sync 3 system. It's got the standard configurations, Bluetooth, navigation, a few apps here and there. It will actually come with sort of internet connectivity in the car, which you can hotspot to your phone, but that's on a subscription basis. So another quirky aspect of this car is the digital dashboard in front of you. It's not in the desert island blue color of the car, but instead it's in the color of the Ford Blue Oval. That's kind of cool actually, and the way it's laid out, really simple. You get the revs on the left and speed on the you get the speed on the left and the revs on the right. Luckily I'm not like that when I'm driving. In the middle you get all the important stuff. You get your trip and your fuel efficiency. It will do 5.2 liters per 100 k's, but we've not been doing that. We've been driving a little bit more ST-like, shall we say. The dashboard in front of you is controlled by the buttons over here, and it's all sort of the simple stuff, you know, that we've come to love from Ford. It's laid out really nicely. You get paddle shifts behind, and of course the leather steering wheel. Everything feels really nicely damped and good to touch, and that's sort of that difference. The build quality, even though this is the affordable SUV, build quality is really good for the most part. One of the cool things of this Puma is the fact that when you turn it on, you get a Puma icon over there. It is a little bit longer, but it's sort of dwelling on, I guess, the jungle aspect or the more aggressive aspect of this car. Another thing that's cool is that when you change the driving modes, which the button is in the middle, you will see that it goes from normal, which is the blue one, you get eco, you get a bit of green there, you get sport, which is the next one, and it goes all red, and there's a checkered flag in the background, and then once you move through it, you see all the revs and everything are all in red, just kind of complementing that ST line badge and also the red stitching all around. And there's a few more modes that you get slippery, you get trail, and then back to normal again. So even though it's a two-wheel drive only, Ford has really covered all sorts of aspects that an urban SUV will need for daily life. And before we get on to testing out all those different drive modes, you would have noticed that sloping roofline. Well, let's hop in the back and see how that affects the space back there. Once you're in the back of the Puma, you'll notice that the amount of space back here is actually a lot, even though it's not a very long car or that tall for that matter. Sitting up straight, you do get plenty of headroom. I'm just under 6 feet and it's perfectly fine for me. The seats, well, they're comfortable, and you could probably fit 2 adults here and a child in the middle, though there is a little bit of a transmission tunnel there. The seat in front of me, well, that's pushed as far back as it can go, and my knees are just about touching up against it, but I've still got plenty of footroom and it feels comfortable back here. And even though that sweeping up shoulder line and the lowered roof line might make it look like the windows back here may be small, they're not, and you do get plenty of light coming in, and even for children, they'll be able to see out of it. It's pretty smartly designed, just like the way the car drives. Now let's take it for a drive and find out.
Look, it's always exciting when there's a new nameplate in town, and although this is actually a revival of an old nameplate, it's still good to, I don't know, especially this day and age when we're looking for more excitement, this is great. And what better to put a Puma than into a vehicle that, you know, is a crossover that does leap into the off-road sort of area. Well, not off-road, but you know what I mean, the soft-road side of things. And that's what this does. It's a nifty little vehicle that crosses from the town into the countryside. Awesome.
Speaking of, I guess, bridges, we passed a couple just now, but that's sort of what the Puma does, because it is based on the Fiesta platform, but it is obviously raised, and you do get some beefier body panels around. Speaking of which, the weight difference actually is about 60 kilograms, and I'm being told that that's about the same as an actual Puma, like the animal.
Big game hunting, you gotta love it. No, you haven't actually. No, strike that. No game hunting. It's a comfortable ride. I mean, starting off with the basics, visibility is great all round, even with this low roof. Comfortable seating position, steering wheel feels great. I like the flat bottom steering wheel on this side. Plenty of dials, plenty of information to see, and you know, from a driver's point of view, very, very cool. What about the passenger?
I've got to say that I am enjoying that Fiesta ST chassis, or rather the Fiesta chassis, because it is a really special sort of setup, and the way this Puma handles around corners, it's just got so much grip and so much almost chuckability, I'll call it. And despite having the ST package, it soaks up the bumps really well, even though the suspension is stiffer.
From a layout point of view, you were saying that you feel a little bit cramped over that side, and mainly down to the way that the dashboard is laid out. Is that right?
Yep, the Puma is actually a roomy car. You know, the roof's pretty high up and there's good width to it, but the way the sort of pieces of the dashboard are laid out, it almost makes you feel like individual compartments, and the piece that they've sort of given the passenger makes it feel like you've got a really small share of the car, but that just isn't true. But psychologically, I'm thinking that, you know,
you just want to sit on this side. I know that, I get that. Handling wise, this front wheel drive is really good. We've been on some gravel road, which New Zealand is full of, and it just handles really nicely. It's a tight turning, great little car for that. It's almost this 1 litre engine just punches way above its weight, and particularly once that turbo cuts in, there's oodles of power. Literally 92 kilowatts is great. It's not incredibly fast off the line, but it's, you know, like I say, it's going to hold its own.
You'd be surprised actually that 1 litre turbo engine kicks out about 155 horsepower, and that's heaps for a car like this, you know, a small SUV with sort of just front wheel drive, and right now just the two of us in here, the power is just perfect, frankly.
Yeah, and also around town, which is obviously this other natural environment for this vehicle, you've got the fact that this vehicle parks itself. I mean, it's not a big car, or a crossover, but it, you know, to have little things like that it'll park itself, which actually I'll see if we can do, but it's kind of a funky, weird sort of thing where it just messes with the steering wheel and away it goes. It's also forward pass connected, so it does all the stuff that forward pass does, I believe, which is set the temperature, get it going, find out where it is, which will just evolve as well. So some really good connectivity for a town and country vehicle.
And we city slickers, we love our Wi-Fi connectivity, and you can actually subscribe to a system which allows the car to have a Wi-Fi hotspot inside. So, you know, if that isn't staying connected, I don't know what is.
Space in the back, small family, ideal, and the multi-level in the boot, it's great. But there's It'll take your family week shopping, no problems at all.
And it's not just that. I mean, for a road trip, you know, you can fold down the seats at the back, get your stuff in. You can put all your little snacks along the way into all the cubbies, and it's really thoughtfully, you know, it's really well thought out, the car. And frankly, the Fiesta was an excellent car, but they've just made it bigger, and they've just frankly used those strengths and just made it an even more family friendly car.
So there you have it, the Puma ST line. It's a Fiesta on stilts in a really good way. It's plenty of road ground clearance, which is cool. So much stuff to touch and play, and big screens and room for the family. You know, it's hard not to like it, actually.
It's an all new car from Ford, and a nameplate that's brought back from history, and frankly improved, some would say, because this Ford Puma is a really good all-around car.
It's a sports car, this one. Not really. Thanks for watching. It's been great to have you along.
Make sure you subscribe to us and hit that like button, and leave a comment as well if you liked the video or didn't like the video.
Nice. And anything you want to see from us, let us know. See you later.